We do no harm. We feed and clothe the poor. Our vow of poverty is sacred most to us. Our place within the League of Christ is oft the source of much mistrust within the halls of Rome. So be it so. We are the ones they call Franciscan. Good San Francis be our guide. A torrid day it was, the day I set about, like many others, days uncounted. Yes, we live in service, yes, we do. This day my load was light. Dried fruit and beans, all wrapped in paper tied with string, were letters, powdered samples, yes, and last, most best of all, a Bible for the rectory built new within Mantova town. As custom states that we must walk in two, the plan was for that fat and happy friar Samuele to go along. But on the day proposed, so ill fell he, I should have ta'en it as a warning, but instead proceeded on my own, for in my thoughts I knew that just beyond Pradelle that mi fratello Giacomo was administering to the sick. His comete, too, had fallen ill, and was no help no more to anyone. Found him I did, within a modest home, a child, a babe, her head swollen, fat, her fever rose unto the point of death, and we with juice and potions, simples, yes, and water too, we brought and lay cool packs upon her brow and neck and chest, and prayer most needful for the fitness of her passage, yes, and solace for her frightened kin, as we were set to leave, as there were those abroad awaiting news and light items dear, we meaning to provide. These men arrived with torches, swords, and chains, and we, not armed with aught except the love of God. They'd heard about the girl, and ordered us get back, so that none could go until the plague had passed. They left us food and drink, then boarded up the doors, immune to any word of protest from the souls within. Old Giacomo never lost his faith, but kept providing comfort to those most affected, ill or ill at ease. So much commended Giacomo be for keeping all, yes, even me, from doubting in those darkly plaintive, painful hours. The third day, though, such joyful tides. Her fever broke. The babe appeared fresh and pink, and giddy as our Saviour child himself. We cried out to the men who would not let us pass, and, mollified, they freed us from our tomb-like prison. Our trial had done its work, and though my soul was strong, my corporal self was weak, and so I headed home toward old Verona walls, intending to recoup a day for setting out again. As I returned, I met another of our order, stout Lorenzo. Friar Lawrence was his name. He did not seem much like himself. His looks were wild. A haunted visage greeted me. He asked my state, recounting my adventure and my plight, without expressing any care or interest in the tumult I endured. Straight out asked about one letter he requested, be passed unto a man in Mantova, an outlaw of whom this Lorenzo had once in his flight. A scurvy youth, was he even killed a man? Upon my handing back the note, which I of course sent not, good brother flew into a rage. He claimed this missive one of great concern, a memo of both life and death, which was the first I'd heard it so described. He sent me for a crowbar, and I fled him, babbling of a living soul shut up with sightless corpses, much as I near might have been. By dawn the news was out across the town, the rascal dead to whom I'd meant to pass the note, he having slain 2 lovers, young, and he himself. His mother too had died of grief, and an apothecary he'd employed was hanged. And most unfair of all, this friar, this, oh, holy man, he told the prince that if it weren't for me, they would all be alive today. And still I hear him cry, "One job hadst thou! Thou hadst one job!"